Hi, everyone. Okay, we need to talk about sleep. I tell you, I am so tired of, there was a pun. I'm so tired of people constantly, every time, I just see everywhere. If you don't sleep, literally, there's all these terrible things that are going to happen to you. There's so much fear mongering around sleep. It's not helping. And I totally agree. Sleep is essential. We know it is totally important for regenerating the mind brain body connection, our mental health, our cardiovascular health, our immune health. Every system of our body requires sleep. But if you're terrified because you can't sleep, you won't be able to sleep because you're worrying about not sleeping. And that is worse than worrying about sleeping. So there's some great research out there and on looking at sleep differently. And I want to bring another perspective to you on sleep, just to help you with sleep. And in my children's book, the book I wrote, How to Help Your Child Clean Up Their Mental Mess, there's a whole chapter on sleep in there as well. So some of these points that I'm talking about now, you can go catch up on them there as well. So I read a study just recently, like literally less than 24 hours ago, and it basically said you can catch up on sleep over weekends. So this talk today is about how you can catch up on sleep and other sleep tips. Okay, so according to this new study, you can catch up on a poor sleep work week on weekends. Yay, finally. I've known this. I bet you've known this. And I bet you if you kind of just chill and relax about sleep, you will find that it's a busy work week, you don't sleep so well, and then on the weekends you play catch up. But we've had so many messages that have been incorrect, which has happened so much when it comes to the well-being environment, and also just research where something comes out and then that's now it. And then something else comes out, said, no, that's wrong, this is right. And no, that's wrong. And I'm sure it's going to change a lot. But what I am seeing with sleep is that there is a lot of controversy and a lot of things we agree on. We all agree we need sleep, but where there's controversy are things like this, where there's been a lot of messaging saying that, hey, once you've had lack of sleep, you can't catch up on your sleep. You know, that message always worried me. It's so hopeless. And I know personally for myself that when I've been very busy and I have that work late nights and we've had a lot of team meetings, or I've been worrying about something which affected my sleep and I haven't slept that well for a few days, I know that eventually I am going to catch up either on the weekend or maybe the next day or something like that. And I always feel better and I know I've caught it up. So I've been saying this for years to my patients and to those that follow me, that you can catch up on sleep. Your body is very intelligent. Your mind is phenomenally intelligent, and your mind drives your brain and your body. So if we with our mind are telling us, oh, I didn't sleep, I need to sleep, this is going to affect my heart. And if that's where you stay, well, then you won't really catch up on that sleep because you won't really relax enough on the weekend to catch up on sleep. Or if you do catch up on sleep, you'll think, well, it didn't help me. And we know the placebo effect, that if you think something's not going to help you, your mind is so powerful that your body doesn't get the benefit that it needs. So I want you to get the benefit from catching up on sleep. So I want you to get the benefit from whatever sleep you can get. So I want to try and help you relax your mind and get into the mindset of these different concepts. And one of them is that actually research now shows that you can catch up on sleep over the weekends. So let's say that you don't have a great sleep week, your work week is very busy, but you sleep for hours on Saturday morning, or maybe you have another sleep on Saturday afternoon, or maybe Sunday afternoon you have another rest. It is working. It is making up for that time that you lost. Or maybe you go 3 days where you just only sleep 3 or 4 hours, or you just have a very disturbed sleep for whatever reason. Maybe you've been traveling, maybe you're worrying about something, maybe there's just too much going on, or maybe you just work really late. Well, then maybe on day 3 or day 4, you even during the week you catch up. You find yourself falling asleep super early and sleeping in a little bit longer. I tell you, grab whatever happens. Grab whatever hours you get and know that they are working for you. It's so important that, and I can't stress it enough, this placebo effect of sleep is so important. If you think that sleeping a few extra hours now and then is not going to help you, it won't. But if you believe now the research that I'm sharing with you and you shift your mindset to say, okay, well, if I have a few bad days, but if I catch up, it's going to help me. So just look for the times, try and relax. The more you chill about sleep, and I'm going to give you some tips to help you on that, how to chill and embrace sleepless nights and so on, the more you're going to benefit when you do have the extra sleep on extra days. So if you feel yourself like needing to sleep in a little bit, if you can, do it. Like this morning, I was going to get up really early. I had this plan to get up at 5:30 and to be in my sauna by 6 and working by 6, working in the sauna. And I couldn't wake. I just was too tired. My alarm went off and I went back to sleep. And I never, okay, first of all, let me say this. I'm not saying switch off your alarm and then be late for work or late for your appointments. Obviously, it's got to work within your time frame. Now, I had a bit of flexibility in my time frame. So yes, it would have been nice to start at that time, but it was fun. I just shifted everything up by an hour and went back to sleep for another hour, snuggled up with my doggies and had another great hour of sleep. And I woke up knowing that extra hour was helping me catch up. So it wasn't necessarily on a weekend because today is not the weekend, but it's Monday. But I know that I caught up. I needed that sleep. So I embraced it. And I got benefit from it. My entire mind, brain, body network was regenerated from that extra sleep and not feeling guilty about it or thinking, oh, well, it was just wasted time. I should have woken up earlier. No. I grabbed that extra hour and all the beautiful benefits that it gave me and embraced that because I know that I can catch up on the poor sleep that I had a couple of days last week where I didn't sleep that well. So I got a bonus and had a catch up hour this morning. And it could be an hour, it could be 2 hours, it could be whatever. Go with the flow. So this super interesting study, which I'm very excited about, and I've put the link over there for you. The study was based on 91,000 people. So this wasn't a small study. And it's come out very recently, and it's been a 14-year study. So what they did was people had sleep trackers on to see how much extra sleep they had over weekends. And then they checked on their cardiovascular health after 14 years. So they tracked these 91,000 people for over this 14-year period. Obviously, there were people that fell out of the study and everything, but they had these are the basic numbers. And they tracked how much extra sleep they got over the weekends. Okay. So they found that the sleep-deprived people who got at least 90 minutes more on the weekends than they did during the week had about 20% lower risk of various illnesses, including heart failure, atrial fibrillation, ischemic heart disease, and stroke. Now, this is fantastic. Okay. Let's just look at that again. Okay, because I told you that. Let me show you okay, here we go. So it was a study. There were 91,000 people. There's the link. They found that the sleep-deprived people who got at least 90 minutes more on the weekends, okay, that's an hour and a half more on the weekends, over a whole 2-day weekend, with the three nights of the weekend, they got an extra 90 minutes. Maybe that was a little nap in the afternoon. Maybe that was sleeping later in the morning or going to bed a little earlier in the evening, or maybe it was 30 minutes earlier spread over the weekend, but they got at least 90 minutes, only an hour and a half more. Made a massive difference. It made it lowered their risk by 20% of various illnesses that are pretty life-threatening, like heart failure, atrial fibrillation, ischemic heart disease, and stroke. So, I mean, this is really exciting. And obviously they're going to do more research and more. This is going to spur a whole bunch of research. But it basically found that if you sleep deprived and if you can just find 90 minutes spread over 2 days, preferably over weekend, you've already lowered your risk by 20%. And if you come in with the right mindset that, hey, this is amazing. If I can just get 90 minutes more sleep spread over the weekend, I am going to reduce my risk of all these potential cardiovascular issues by 20%. So I'm that much healthier. So if I have some more sleep, does it mean that I'm going to have less of a risk? Potentially, yes. The point is that the extra hours of sleep, it did help. And we've had a lot of research saying that you can't make up for lost sleep. Well, today I'm telling you, the research shows what is true, and that is that you can make up for lost sleep. But pairing that with a mindset, add a mindset to that, hey, I can catch up. I can get the extra sleep. I just need 90 minutes more and it's going to make a massive difference. So if I can get 2 hours more, maybe I can get whatever happens. If I sleep in 2 hours in the morning, embrace that. Don't feel guilty. Enjoy that. Don't push yourself. Go with the flow. If you feel sleepy and you're working and it's If it's Saturday afternoon and you maybe had to catch up on a little bit of work and you feel a little sleepy, take a little rest. I was working on Saturday. I had to catch up on some stuff that I needed to do because I've got to travel on Thursday. So I had to catch it up, make a sort of catch up, find some catch up time over the weekend. And I was working for about 3 hours and took my little breaks and did my thinker moments. And then I was suddenly just so tired and I had to go and do some taping and recording after that. So I just took a 15-minute nap and I felt so much better. So that's what I'm saying, guys, is let's relax into those extra bits of sleep, nap time, and these things. Do little naps during the day. They do help. They're so helpful. So weekend catch-up sleep, and we're talking about it as weekend catch-up sleep, but it could be during the week. It doesn't mean it only works if it's a weekend. It works if you're on holiday. It works if you have a day off in the week. It works if it's during the week, like 2 days of Monday and Tuesday you don't sleep so well, and then Wednesday you catch up and you have 90 minutes extra sleep or something like that. As I said this morning, I had 60 minutes extra sleep and it's a Monday. Okay, so that benefited me tremendously. Okay, for the day and for my health and physiology and all that. Not just your heart that benefits, your entire psychoneurobiology benefits. Okay, so just these are some of the more specific effects. When you have your weekend catch-up sleep, your heart, okay, let's just here we go. Weekend catch-up sleep. Okay, your heart rate slows during sleep and blood pressure can fall by 10 to 20%. So when you're sleeping, your blood pressure falls, which is wonderful. 10 to 20%. And it's a phenomenon known as nocturnal dipping. And it's very, very good for you. Okay, so if you're battling with blood pressure problems, that's why people often say that if you've got blood, the doctors will tell you that one of the first questions they may ask you if you have blood pressure issues is, are you sleeping enough? And that in itself will make you worry. So you're going to embrace this and you're going to know that you can catch up. And when you're sleeping, every time you catch a little bit of shut eye, you are dropping, you've got your nocturnal dipping, you've got a little bit of a blood pressure drop, which is going to help overall with your physiology. And add the mindset component, guys. Your mind drives your brain and your body. Your mind is driving your heart. It's driving your blood pressure. So if your mind is crazy, your blood pressure is going to go up. If you're dealing with an issue that's big and hard to deal with, your blood pressure is going to reflect that. So if we can get our mind right, recognizing that, okay, I'm going through this now, I'm going to have a few days of bad sleep, that is okay. My blood pressure is going to rise, but I'm going to fall asleep. When I do sleep, I'll manage to make this up. That mindset, I can't stress it enough. It's going to help you enormously. Okay, so next one, poor sleep can also lead to chronic inflammation. Okay, so we know that. We hear about that a lot and think, oh my gosh, where there's inflammation, there's disease. And we know that if you don't have good sleep, it leads to chronic inflammation. But so does worrying about not sleeping. That also increases inflammation. So then you just add words, you're just layering it, one inflammation on top of another. And when you've got inflammation, that can give rise to circulatory plaques, and catching up on sleep helps alleviate that. So when you are catching up on your sleep, you are basically helping to reduce that inflammation, helping to reduce the circulatory plaques, helping to, and so that's just two of the things. And that's going to help to reduce blood pressure. So there's just three things over here. I don't want to go into too much medical stuff, but this is enough to make a massive difference to who you are as a person. But this has got to go hand in hand with the mindset. It's got to go hand in hand with that placebo, which the mind will do to the body. The placebo basically means that the mind is driving the brain and the body. And if you tell your mind, you say, okay, this is great. Weekend sleep is going to reduce my blood pressure. It's going to reduce inflammation. And so if I can't sleep now, it's okay. I'm going to catch up. I'm going to get my blood pressure might be a little bit up now, but I'm going to catch up. Just having that mindset will already start dropping your blood pressure and the inflammation. So that's really great to know. Okay, so here's some more sleep tips. Okay, so stop worrying about not sleeping and stop reading all the scary stuff about not sleeping. We know it wrecks your body if you don't sleep, but the mindset of worrying about it is even worse. It's going to just make it worse. So what do? Embrace sleeplessness. And watch what happens. Embrace sleeplessness, knowing that you can catch up with your sleep. Okay. And that mindset is going to help you. Mind is the main reason for sleep issues. Okay. Other things can contribute too, obviously, like medications, traveling, whatever. But mind when I say mind, I'm talking about worrying about maybe your job, worrying about your finances, worrying about your health, worrying about your kids, worrying about your work, worrying about a project, worrying about getting things done, worrying about a move, worrying about a loss, worrying about all of these things, grief, unmanaged traumas, bad habits, arguing and not resolving an argument, getting constantly irritated or worked up, or that all of those are mind issues that disrupt our neuroregulation, our neurophysiology, our psychoneurobiology. And those are creating this disruptive state that do affect our sleep. So therefore, it's really good to prepare the mind for sleep. So it's as you go through the day, all the things that I teach you, like I did a podcast on glimmer moments, go listen to that. I've done a podcast on, there's so much information that I give you. All of the information I'm giving you and helping you manage your mind is going to help you with your sleep. So pretty much everything I'm teaching you on all these podcasts, all these NeuroLives, doing the neurocycle, these are all going to help get your mind under control. And as we manage our mind and we increase our mental fitness, so we are going to find our sleep also improves. So if you go through a major shock, like maybe a major loss or a major grief or a major, traumatic incident or a major move or a major work change or anything big, it's a good chance that, that's stuff that you're processing and it's like a lot and it's scary. So your sleep will be affected. But no, when it's affected, embrace it. It's okay because you can catch up. Keep telling yourself you can catch up. Okay. So if I can't sleep and I sleep well, but I didn't used to sleep well, if I can't sleep, I have found that the main reason is that I haven't put something to bed, to use that pun again. I'm dealing with something that is, I haven't dealt with something. So there's something that's still worrying me. There's something that's revolving instead of evolving in my mind. There's something I feel bad about. There's something I'm just sad about. And even though I don't expect to get full resolution for everything before sleep, it's a really good idea to do a neurocycle and just gather awareness. Where am I at in this moment? I'm getting into bed. Where am I at in this moment? I mean, I often do this when I can feel myself disturbed and I'm cleaning my teeth and taking off my makeup and so on. I'll just do a neurocycle. I'll gather awareness of how I'm feeling in this moment, go through the emotions and the behaviors and the bodily sensations and perspectives. Then I'll just reflect on that for a moment and say, why am I feeling like this? I'm feeling like this because in my mind, I might just, the third step, which is the right step, I might just do a bit of a mind storm first in my mind while I'm still maybe cleaning my teeth, thinking, this is because I didn't resolve that. I still wanted to do this. I wanted to get that done today and I didn't do it. That's really worrying me. So I'll just gather all of that up and then grab my phone or grab a pen and paper. I've always got pen and paper close by. Also my phone, I like putting it in my phone or my computer because then I've got it there and I can't read my own writing. And I'll just quickly make a note of, okay, this is what's worrying me. It doesn't take me long. And I put down the results of my mind storm. And then I will recheck and say, okay, well, what can I do now? It's 9:00 at night. I can't solve this problem now, but I can acknowledge it. By acknowledging it, I've brought it up to the conscious mind and I've weakened that neural network. I've weakened the neural bundles. So instead of them tightening up into a knot, like a knot in your shoulder and affecting your body or somatic sensation and affecting those body cells, your soma and your networks and messing with your neurophysiology and putting your increasing cortisol when you want it to decrease at that time. By acknowledging it, I've actually weakened that effect. And by writing it down and going to the neurocycle, I've actually weakened that network. I've brought it in the conscious mind. I'm now controlling it. And then the recheck, the fourth step, okay, I've maybe not be able to solve this now, but I can solve this by making a to-do list for tomorrow. I can solve this by texting this person quickly. I can solve this by writing down, okay, well, that's what's worrying me and I need to work on that in my neurocycle tomorrow. In other words, I can get some kind of closure on all of those, and that's what my recheck would be. And my active reach would be, okay, I'm going to go and do something fun to go to sleep, okay? And this is things like, for me, I love to watch a show before I go to sleep. And I've done a whole podcast and NeuroLive on phones and blue light, all that stuff. How for some people it's bad, but for some people it's not. And the research isn't actually confirmed that every time you get on your phone, it's going to affect your sleep. It doesn't. For me, for you, it might. So then you could watch TV or you could read a book. But for me, my active reach will be, I've done all of that, put it aside. I'm now going to get into bed. I'm going to look forward to getting into bed and I'm going to watch the show until I fall asleep. Or I'm going to read a book or I'm going to do something that's fun. okay, and to help myself to go to sleep. Okay, so I also do a lot of preparation around the sleep thing. So I love to have a bath at night. I love the smell of roses. So I make sure that I have that smell with candles, with bubble bath, lights dimmed. I make sure my bedroom is beautiful. My bed is really comfortable. I like big, schmumpy, comfortable beds, and it's tidy and clean. You don't have to do that, but these are things that I'm doing. Find what creates a beautiful sleep environment. I have my phone next to me, I have my computer, because the reason I have them close by is because if I've done the whole bath thing, done the whole neurocycle, got into bed, watched the TV, dozed off, and suddenly woken up, that jolt where you're awake and you think, oh no, I'm so tired and I want to sleep, but I'm wide awake, and you're not going to panic. In those moments, I embrace them. I don't panic and think, I've got to go to sleep and lie, then force myself to sleep. I'll try a little bit. I'll do a bit of breathing. I'll maybe do a little quick neurocycle to a relaxing, calming one. And I've got lots of those examples on my neurocycle app. And by the way, those of you that aren't doing the neurocycle and you wonder what I'm talking about, it's a system I've developed for directing neuroplasticity and making all these changes in our networks and rewiring our networks. So you can find my app on iTunes and Google Play, and there's a web version at neurocycle.app. Okay, so I will first try and, do a little neurocycle, do some breathing, and a great breathing exercise if you wake up is to breathe, cover one side of your nose and you breathe in and out and in and out a few times. That can make you sleepy quite quickly. And if those don't work, then embrace. Okay, embrace it. Don't panic. Sit up in bed, grab your phone, maybe watch some more of the show, maybe read some more, and maybe you'll doze off. So I do that, but sometimes I'll do that and then I actually I'm wide awake. So then I think, okay, what do I need to do now? What would I like to do now? I don't feel like watching TV. I don't feel like reading. I feel like working. And then I allow myself to work. So I first try the relaxing, the breathing, watching something nice, read a bit of a book, whatever. And then if that doesn't work, then I work. Then I say, okay, well, this is my chance to get done some stuff then that I'm ahead of the game for tomorrow, or something that's been worrying me. So I don't worry about it. I embrace it. And maybe I go the whole night without sleep. But you know what? I am not in a mindset of panicking. That's okay. I will catch up with the sleep. I will not let the fact that, now everything's going to go wrong in my body, because that mindset will wreck me. But I know it's not true. I know my mind is stronger than my brain and my body. And yes, I need the sleep, obviously, but I'll catch it up probably the next night. Maybe not the next night, but eventually I will. In the meantime, I got some work done, which is really cool. And I watched some TV and I really enjoyed that show. And so it's getting yourself ready in that way will really help with the sleep. Environment does play a role, as I said. Find your unique rhythm. That's another thing. The number, the number of hours is not settled. That's another thing. We keep on hearing we've got to sleep 6 to 8 hours. And I did a lot of research on this. And since the 19th century, they've been searching around for how many hours we should sleep and how many hours our children should sleep. And it's kind of been an average of around 6 to 8. It probably is somewhere in that region. But some nights you may sleep 4 and some nights you may sleep 10. And some of us only need 4 a night and we're fine with 3 hours a night. And some of us need 9 hours. And you're going to change as circumstances change and as things in your life happen and as you get older and so on. So it's not hard cast in stone. Nothing in science is. We're evolving all the time. We're learning more and more stuff all the time. But it's interesting that since the 19th century, the hours of how many hours we should sleep and our kids should sleep is still it hasn't been resolved yet. It's been researched since the middle of the 19th century, and we are in the 21st century. We still don't really know for sure how many hours it is. So, kind of put the 6 to 8 hours just as a placeholder and find your rhythm. Find what works for you, bearing in mind that you're going to have sleepless night depending on what's going on in your life. I mean, if you have a bunch of stuff that happens during the day, the chances are your night is going to be kind of messed up. But you'll catch up, okay? And then another couple of things that I do is start preparing for sleep. I'm just jumping around a little bit. Start preparing for sleep when you wake up. Okay, so when you wake up, preparation for sleep doesn't begin when you get into bed. The preparation for sleep begins when you wake up. When you wake up, your chemicals in your brain are reversing as you go from non-consciousness and unconsciousness to consciousness. So the unconscious works 24/7. It drives everything. Unconscious is when you're asleep. As you go from unconscious to conscious, there's a shift in your chemicals, a shift in how they flow through the front part of your brain. Your front part of your brain gets woken up, and they kind of reverse direction. It's quite a complex process, and in that state, you're very vulnerable. And if you wake up in that state and you immediately go into a negative mode, it's a good chance you'll affect your sleep that night. Doesn't mean you can't sort it out with a neurocycle during the day. You can, but here's an extra tip. If you can catch as you wake up, catch your thought immediately, and if it's negative, get it under control, take a deep breath, change your mindset, do a neurocycle, do whatever it is that you have to do. Get yourself in a state that by the time you get out of bed, you don't get up on the wrong side of the bed. Another thing, try and get sunlight in your eyes first thing in the morning, because that just helps to balance the cortisol, melatonin, and so on, and helps to get you into a good state for the day, which also prepares you for sleep at night. If it's cloudy outside, it doesn't matter. Just get your head out the window if you can. If it's possible, if you can open the window, if you can open a balcony, if you can get in the garden, if you have to go downstairs and it's only done, like a half an hour later because you're in a hotel and you can't open the windows because they're stuck. Some of them, they're not windows that you can open. But if possible, get your window open, get your head out there, get some fresh air in. And if you can't open the window, at least open the blinds or the curtains and get some sunlight in. Even if it's cloudy outside, you're still going to get that daylight in, and that really does help. Okay, so as basically in summary, mindset is so important with sleep. It's more important to get the right mindset around sleep, and today's main mindset is embrace that sleeplessness, because you can catch up your sleep. So it's great news to know. Hope it helps you, and see you next time.